Have you ever stopped to wonder who actually builds the huge projects that shape our world? The highways we drive on, the airports we fly from, the hospitals we rely on? Well, the answer is often this really interesting team up called a public private partnership, or PPP for short. So let's break down how they really work. Okay, let's be real. All around us, our world is crying out for an upgrade. We need new bridges, faster trains, cleaner power plants. Governments see the need, absolutely. But these projects cost billions, and public budgets are stretched pretty thin. So begs the question, right? How do we build the world of tomorrow when the public purse is almost empty today? And this, right here, is the core challenge that countries all over the globe are facing. It's this massive gap between what we know we need to build and the money we actually have to build it. This is exactly where a totally different approach starts to come into play. So, what exactly is a public-private partnership? Well, think of it like a strategic team-up. It's a long-term contract where a government says, hey, we have a public need, and a private company steps in with the money, the know-how, and the management to build it and run it. In short, it's a way to get critical projects off the drawing board and into reality. But here's the thing you've got to understand. This isn't just about finding a new source of cash. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about delivering public services and infrastructure. It's really all about leveraging the unique strengths of both the public and the private sectors. So why would a government go this route? Well, it's about way more than just the money. The big idea is to tap into the private sector's secret sauce, efficiency. Private companies, driven by the need to be profitable, have this powerful incentive to innovate, to finish on time, and to keep costs down. And crucially, it's also about transferring risk, shifting the burden of things like construction delays or budget overruns onto the partner who's best equipped to manage them. Okay, so we've got the what and the why, but how do these really complex deals actually come together in the real world? Let's take a look under the hood at the structure. This table breaks it down perfectly. You can see there's a really clear division of labor here. The public sector, the government, they act as the client. They set the rules saying, we need a hospital with 500 beds and it has to meet these specific standards of care. Then the private partner takes on the massive job of designing it, financing it, building it, and operating it, all while accepting the day-to-day risks of making the whole thing work. And it is absolutely vital to understand that this isn't some quick deal. It's a marathon, not a sprint. A typical PPP life cycle can span decades. It starts with a first idea, goes through a competitive bidding process, then years of construction and operation, all the way to the very end when the asset is finally handed back to the public. Now, this model has incredible promise for speeding up development. But let's be clear, it is also a high-wire act. It's a really delicate balance of huge risks and massive rewards for both sides of the partnership. The upsides? They're really compelling. I mean, projects can get built years, maybe even decades, sooner than if they had to wait in line for public funding. And because private partners often get paid based on performance, there's this built-in reason to keep the asset in great shape over its entire life, which helps avoid that whole build it and forget it cycle we sometimes see. It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? Faster, better, and off the government's immediate books. But you know what they say, with great potential comes pretty significant risk. Yeah, the challenges are very, very real. I mean, what happens if a new government comes in and wants to completely change the terms of a 30-year contract? Or what if way fewer cars use a new toll road than anyone projected and the revenues just tank? For every single risk, there has to be a strong plan to deal with it, like performance penalties or stable legal frameworks. Without those, a promising project can turn into a public nightmare fast. Okay, so to see how this all works in the real world, let's look at a fantastic example. Malaysia has been one of the true pioneers in using PPPs to drive its national development, and they've been doing it for decades. This timeline really shows a deliberate long-term strategy. It wasn't an overnight thing. Starting way back in the 80s, Malaysia systematically built up its PPP framework. They even created a special government unit called UCAS specifically to manage and oversee these complex deals, and they've been refining their approach ever since. One of the most iconic projects has to be the North-South Expressway. This massive highway, which is literally the backbone of Peninsular Malaysia, used a build, operate, transfer model. And it's exactly what it sounds like. A private company pays to build the road, they operate it as a toll road for a set number of years to make back their investment, and then, at the end of the contract, they transfer ownership right back to the government. And PPPs can also lead to some incredibly innovative solutions. Just take a look at Kuala Lumpur's Smart Tunnel. This thing is a genius idea. It's not just a motorway to help with traffic jams, it's also a massive stormwater drain to prevent flash floods. This dual-purpose marvel is just a perfect example of creative problem solving that came from a public-private partnership. And it's not just about concrete and steel either. Malaysia has used PPPs to build really critical social infrastructure, like the UKM Specialist Children's Hospital and a number of universities. This just shows how versatile the model can be. It can deliver essential public services, not just economic projects. So as we've seen, PPPs can be incredibly effective tools, but their success, every single time, hinges on getting that balance just right, the balance between private sector efficiency and the public's best interest. At the end of the day, a successful PPP is built on a foundation of trust and good governance. That means transparent bidding, ironclad accountability to make sure taxpayers are getting value for their money, and constant oversight. This is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. It's an active, ongoing partnership that needs really careful management. And this quote really just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? When they're managed well, with solid rules and great oversight, PPPs can be transformative. But if that governance is weak, all those risks we talked about can easily swallow up any of the potential rewards. And that leaves us with this central question, really. This model offers a powerful path to building our future, but its success depends less on the ink in the contract and more on the strength and transparency of the public institutions that are managing these deals for the public good. It's a challenge every nation has to face. Thanks for joining this explainer.